Okay, what we're going to touch on is basic diatonic theory on what we call the ice cream progression in the key of C. So 1, A minor, 6 minor, 4, F, and 5, 7, or 5, 7 would be better to get that color. Okay, so the three big elements of that whole thing, while that chord progression is going on that you're playing, like you can think of it as Dream, 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 or Duke of Earl, or anything you want to. First thing is, I get the sense of where the bass motion is. And being a bass singer, you'll have so that's the first thing going through my mind is where's the root motion going on? And off each of those main roots, the primary roots, wherever they are on the neck, and of course ultimately you got to know them all across the neck. I'm going to try to stay down here for this session because then you can kind of see it and you can transpose it. And then I'll put a few of them up the neck. So you're on C, and so what I have a couple seconds. Now, if you're doing it in that framework of 2 strums, it doesn't give you a lot of time. So for your example, let's stretch that out to be 4 beats each chord. Here we go. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and okay, so that kind of thing. So I see the root motion. So the first thing that has to be said is, what's the mother scale of all those chords that unites them all? And it's a C major scale. So I'll just play it right here. So I'm just going to play a C scale. And you could play it here. You can play it here, gradually shifting. And each one of those positions has an advantage, and I'll explain what that is in just a minute. And you can go up here to the 5th position. And one that you played a minute ago. And so on, all the way across, each one having its advantage. So the first thing that I want to deal with is just playing down here and addressing that the scale contains all the vitamins, all the musical nutrition you need for those chords. So play your chords, if you will, Maestro, and I'm just... Okay, so that's just me scrambling, but there's something else I'm doing there other than just playing the scale. Let me show you what would happen if I weren't paying attention to what notes I target. So what I was doing there was I was targeting notes to stop on that I knew you were contained in your chord. So let me do bad targeting here, okay? So you get the drift. It doesn't sound very good. It sounds disorganized, even though I'm still playing the same scale that I just played. So it behooves us to know at any moment what the notes are contained in the chord of the moment. So I use that term a lot. So remember that phrase, the chord of the moment. So each chord has to be studied in terms of its components, i.e. the arps. So in C we have C's, E's, and G's. So I'll just go whatever position you're in. And then when you go to A minor, it's just A's, C's, and E's. Sorry. Screwed that up. But anyway, F, A, and C. I do it fine until I'm explaining it. And then G7, you've got an extra note with the F. So G, B, and D with the added F note. That's why G7 gives you a little more food. That's why the 5-7 is a really nice chord to dig in on. Okay, so now I'm just going to play those arpeggios, arps as we call them, along with your chording, okay? And all this does, this is not a way that I'd want to play, this is a way of knowing what the best notes are to stop on at any moment. So here I go. So that's me just playing the arps. A very stiff and very robotic way to do it, but a great way to practice because you learn very quickly. You learn very quickly which notes are good to target for anything. So I make predictions based on the chord that I see coming up. If you're playing with somebody else, you can see their hand going that way and make a prediction. So, but arps have that advantage of really giving you the best targets. They also have the disadvantage of making your solos very stiff and stilted sounding. So you need the glue that regular scales provide, but scales tend to be too viney. So let's go back to scales for a minute, and I'm gonna target well using this, but I'm not gonna stop very much. So if you don't stop, you don't get targets. So I'm just gonna play scales around you. Here we go. 3, 4. See, and that doesn't say much to me either, but that's me playing the scales and targeting pretty well, but I'm not stopping enough to make melodic music. So what I'm going to do now is combine my scale science with my arp science, and then I'm going to go back to what I like to do is get into the pocket with what you're doing. 3, 4. So that's the goal that you're going for, and little notes along the way that are not quite on the chord of the moment can be considered tensions that create a little bit of suspense. So if you play too much in the pocket like that, it becomes pretty predictable. So by the third solo there, that would be a little bit you'd start to drift off. Your attention span wouldn't be as good for that. So what you do beyond this would be to hit some outside notes and let them ring over a little bit, just to tease the listener with, oh, what, oh, okay. So that's what you want more than okay, okay, okay. You want, what? Oh, okay, good. So now I'm going to go up the neck just a little bit here. I'm going to go to the next position so you can get out of this first position, and I'm going to play out of this. And then I'm going to explain why each position has certain advantages, and you can work on this over the months you're working.